Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Continuing to see some mostly sunny skies out there this morning with temperatures now climbing into the 40s and still seeing a fairly light wind and just a few high clouds around the area. Should see a nice and quiet and seasonable day today. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions later this afternoon, and we'll stay slightly breezy as we move through the coming days before a cold front moves through early Thursday. It's going to bring our next chance for some precip activity in the form of rain and maybe even some light snow mixing in as some colder temperatures move in. Looking at the current surface analysis, high pressure still in control. We'll see that moving off and centering off to the east, and it's going to allow some southwesterly flow to pick up over the next couple of days. It's going to keep things seasonable or just above average before we see that shot of cold air moving in for the later portion of the week. Taking a look at the current visible satellite, we see just a few high clouds just over the area just off to the south, but generally mostly sunny around the region. We will see some additional high clouds later this evening, but overall should see some mostly sunny skies through the day today. We'll look at the high resolution model for the next couple of days. As mentioned, we're going to see mostly sunny skies, slightly breezy this afternoon. Additional clouds as we move through the first part of the evening, and we should see some clearing before we start to see additional clouds building in tomorrow. Tomorrow will be slightly warmer and slightly breezier, but still expecting to stay below wind advisory criteria. But as we move into that evening time frame, particularly as we get past midnight, Wednesday night into Thursday, that's when we'll see that boundary pushing into the area. As you can see, the model indicating we're going to see some light rain pushing through the area initially, and then we'll start to see some of that colder air catching up on the backside, possibly ending with some light snow. But overall, precipitation totals look fairly minimal. Not expecting much in the way of rainfall, and not expecting any accumulating snowfall, as we'll see those warmer surfaces with that rainfall and those wet conditions. On the backside of this, though, we'll see a quick ramp up in the winds on the backside of this front out of the northwest, becoming quite windy and colder as we move through the day on Thursday. As we zoom out here, looking at the longer term forecast, we'll see this broad troughing over the eastern part of the country with that colder air settling into the region. We'll see some breezy conditions continuing into Friday, so staying fairly chilly through Friday. We'll see some slight moderation as we go into Saturday as another wave moves through the upper level flow, keeping the colder air in place, but slightly milder with some southerly flow as we move through Saturday. We'll see a chance of a few light showers around Saturday, maybe even some light snow trying to mix in with that, but nothing too significant at this time. But as we move into Sunday, we continue to see that trough set up over the region, and generally most modeling is indicating quiet conditions with maybe a light snow shower isolated around the area, but we'll be keeping an eye on this pattern as a few models trying to indicate maybe an area of low pressure developing off the coast. But again, a majority of modeling not quite showing that yet, so that's something we'll keep an eye on. Generally just going to expect a slight chance of a light snow shower, and then things look to stay cold and looking quiet as we move into the day on Monday. So if we look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, we do have green conditions through the next 24 hours. As mentioned, we'll see a slight breeze picking up this afternoon out of the south-southwest, 7 to 12 knots, with a few peak gusts up around 20 knots. We'll see our high temperature capping out around 50 degrees, and again, plenty of sun. Some additional clouds, high clouds, as we move into the evening time frame. We'll keep some slightly breezy conditions moving through the evening out of the south-southwest, 9 to 14 knots, gusting up to 21 knots. And that's going to keep our temperature from falling too low. We'd expect a net low around 38 degrees, so somewhat mild for this time of year. See our tides running about a half a foot below normal. And another quiet day for Wednesday. Again, slightly breezy, but still expecting to stay below that wind advisory criteria. We'll have that additional cloud cover building in with that front approaching the area, and a slightly milder day ahead of that with a high around 54 degrees. We start to pick up that orange risk for precip as we move through the Wednesday night time frame, again mainly after midnight as that front passes through, starting off with some light rain and then some light snow mixing in on the backside, but again not expecting any accumulation with that event. And we'll see those winds start cranking up, so we'll see those orange conditions for wind advisory criteria and yellow risk for reduced ceilings visibilities with that precip activity, and then increasing to a red risk for that wind advisory criteria, with that wind advisory becoming likely, particularly as that front passes through, and behind that front we'll see those northwesterly winds bringing in some colder temperatures. We'll see our high struggle to get into the mid-30s, expecting a high around 36 degrees, but those wind chill values will be in the upper teens to lower 20s through all of the day on Thursday. Looking at the extended forecast, we see quieter skies on Friday, but we'll continue to see some breezy and cold conditions with a high around 37 degrees. And then for Saturday and Sunday, again, chance of a rain or snow shower during the afternoon on Saturday, nothing too significant, so looking at about a 30% chance of that. Otherwise, just seeing some cloudier conditions and fairly seasonable temperatures, and then another cool down as we go into Sunday, keeping about a 20% chance of an isolated snow shower. Right now, not looking like anything too significant, but that's something we'll be keeping an eye on, and then things look to quiet up as we go into Monday, possibly seeing some breezy conditions on Monday as well, but staying slightly below average for our temperatures. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again at 8:15 tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.